I'm feeling a lot of anger toward my ex-wife's affair child after being asked to be his father figure. This post is about me, Hump 39, my ex-wife Ift 39, our two sons M7 mine, and the affair my ex-wife had that resulted in the end of our marriage, as well as a third child. We'll call Max Anfing 5. I've been thinking about posting something like this for a few days. I have to admit that reading the recent post by Reddit user is the thing that's pushed me to sit down and try to type this out. I think that what I want to talk about is parenting stuff, but I'm going to start by talking about the affair and dissolution of our relationship. My wife confessed to the affair about a week after telling me she was pregnant. So, a week I'd spent excited about what I thought was going to be my child. Turns out, no, it was an emotionally pretty traumatic time. I might have been able to work through the infidelity, but made the ultimatum that she had to end the pregnancy. She was philosophically opposed to abortion, and I knew this. She stuck to her morals in that particular instance, and so I initiated a divorce. She has since married her affair partner. Regarding custody of our sons, there was a period of more conflict and resistance. I took the boys in the initial period of Max's infancy, and in the initial highly emotionally injured state I was in, I sought full permanent custody, but I wasn't likely to be successful, and I was eventually persuaded that despite the breakdown of my relationship with her, that it's in my sons' best interests to have their mother in their lives. Today, to the amazement of everyone else in my life, my ex and I remain cooperating partners in the parenthood of our children. For the last 2 years, we've shared week-to-week custody of our two sons. This upcoming school year, Max is going to be old enough to attend the same school. About a month ago, I got sat down by my ex, her partner, and all 3 boys, and they all want Max to travel back and forth with the boys each week and effectively live with me 50 of the time. Seriously. There are some arguments for it, admittedly. The 3 boys are friends and brothers as much as I resent it. Splitting them up regularly does seem like a weird sibling dynamic that could have poor consequences. I'm angry with my ex for broaching the topic with the boys before me, but it's also an entirely reasonable thing for the boys to have an opinion on. I agreed. What was I supposed to say? No, why not? I can't say because I hate that Max exists. So I said, okay. I do hate him. I know he doesn't deserve to be hated. I know he's no more responsible for the circumstances of his conception than any of us. But knowing that doesn't seem to matter. He's a walking, talking reminder of all the worst emotions that I've ever felt. I'm coming to end of his 2nd week staying with us and the boys. We have moved him into my home and made space for him. I hate the sound of his voice. If he needs help in the kitchen, I am immediately annoyed with no good reason. I'm constantly angered by his limitations that are entirely in line with being a 5-year-old, things I would never get angry with my sons over. I'm short-tempered and just energized with this useless, visceral anger. I feel like the last years of my life have been a carousel of humiliations and degradations. The only way I've been able to keep everything together is constantly repeating to myself that pragmatic argument that no matter how authentic my grievances are and no matter how justified I am in my anger, it doesn't help me or my sons for me to devolve into an embittered rage hermit. Just hold my tongue, breath deep, and force myself to do the thing that will actually help. So I remain in regular contact with their mother, and I talk to her politely on the topics that I have to. Since recognizing that I don't have the legal power to exclude him from my sons' lives, I have been cordial with Max's father. That I've been able to do these things has been the only thing about myself worth feeling good about. But maybe it's not worth feeling good about. Maybe I regret being civil. Because in Max's presence, that pragmatic argument is just not enough. It's like all the anger I've set aside through sheer force of will returns at once and possesses me while I have to talk to him. I thought I was doing the right thing, but if I had remained combative and negative, I never would have ended up in this position. What do I do? I'm constantly thinking I want to back out, to say, no, I can't do this, I'm sorry. But how could I justify that? No one else in the situation will be happy with that. The boys certainly don't understand why there would be a reason for them to be treated differently based on their parentage. My oldest has told me so explicitly in a moment that made me feel both proud of him and ashamed of my own anger. Their mother and her partner would be upset. Part of me doesn't care and bitterly assumes they're just trying to get some free time for themselves out of this, but I'm trying not to dwell on that. My ex makes good arguments that this is in the best interests of all of the children. But part of me just remembers how long she lied to me and how totally I trusted her in that time. It seems like the only thing to do is the same thing I've ever done. Suck it up and get over myself and my anger. But if I do that, then I have to actually do that. Even if I'm being a responsible babysitter for Max right now, he deserves to live in a home where he is loved, not merely tolerated. Can I do that? Maybe I can't do that. I'm scared of a path forward where I can't work up the nerve to back out of this arrangement and consign myself to getting over it. And then I actually don't get over it, but rather dwell ever angrier with how my life has turned out and take it out on the undeserving around me. Tau in the comments. Redditor 1. Are they paying you for babysitting every other week so they can duck all around the child-free house? You have a responsibility to provide for your children, but Max is theirs, and it's supremely ducked up for them to you. They are both preying on your weakness to capitalize on free childcare. I can guarantee you that spending 50s of his time with a person who hates him will do worse to Max than having to stay home with his parents while his brothers stay with their father. T.O.P. Yes, the arrangement includes them regularly paying me a substantial and reasonable amount. We've been sharing most childcare expenses already. Redditor 2. Your ex is asking too much of you. You need to find a way to end this arrangement, or at least take a break from it while you work through your emotions and figure out how best to move forward. It sounds like you never fully recovered from what your ex did. You should consider counseling or a psychologist for yourself. Max has done nothing wrong. He's a child. However, the circumstances of his arrival in this world ruined your life as you knew it. Having him around is a constant reminder of how your life was impacted. Now, your ex is making you accommodate the results of her actions so that she can have her ideal family situation. No, you should not be trying to accommodate her. Your concern should be for your sons only. She needs to handle this herself. T.O.P. Tell me about it, man. I just said in another comment that I wish I could go no contact with her. It's like, despite all of anger and hurt, I've not actually gotten over her, and now I just have to regularly interact with her, and watch her be happy, and it just really sucks. Redditor 3. If you don't feel like you can adequately take in this child and not treat him any differently than your own children, I don't think you should do it. Yes, it might be weird for your boys that they are separated from their other brother at times, but ultimately, that's not your fault. The boy deserves to be in a home where he is treated as equal to his brothers. Based on your feelings for him, I imagine that would be an incredibly difficult thing for you to do. I understand why 100 he is a manifestation of the pain and problems you have suffered. You are clearly a very caring person for even being concerned about this. But you ultimately know what you are capable of. If you cannot have this boy in your home without resenting and hating him, you should not have him. That's not going to be healthy for anyone in the long run. You dated. Hey, everyone. It's been a few weeks since you heard from me. I guess I'm kind of in a spot to update now. So my post got a lot of feedback, and it was pretty much unanimous. I heard from lots of people. Parents and sons and daughters in blended families, people who'd been cheated on themselves, people who were Max in their own families, and you all told me what I should have been able to admit myself, that this was not normal, that no one had ever heard of an arrangement like this. I resolved to end the arrangement and met with my ex-wife and her partner to tell them a few days after I posted midway through their custody week. Many people advised me to speak to my boys about it first, like my ex did to me, but I wanted to deliver the message before having to take Max again. I was thinking that it might be better to instead call them out on that behavior and try to get them to agree not to include the boys in that level of discussion before me, and then we could all sit down with the boys. The meeting did not go well. They were both pretty mad at me. I had tried to prepare for it to be uncomfortable. I told myself just to be polite and firm, that I didn't owe them an explanations beyond, "I'm sorry, it's not working out." I guess he had made some career move based on this schedule that I was ducking up. In hindsight, I do feel sort of responsible for that frustration, in that I regret agreeing to this arrangement in the first place, but in the moment I really was not giving a duck about this man's work-life balance. Then he said something about how I wasn't being fair, that they just wanted a fair custody arrangement. That made me very mad. Thinking about this all to type it out has my heart hammering. I have some different opinions on fairness. I said some pretty poo-opty, regrettable things to both of them, and then we were all screaming at each other for a while, and then I stormed out and I didn't talk to the boys. I didn't get to talk to my boys for several days until handoff. They immediately were asking about why Max wasn't with them, and I, prepared for it, held a more serious talk with them than I had up to this point. I talked about how it's great that they enjoy spending time with Max, but that I'm their father and that Max has his own father to spend time with. I also talked about how this whole spectacle of our lives is difficult for me, that I don't like having to spend only every other week with them, that their mother's decision to start another family with Max's father and Max still makes me sad. This is pretty awfully difficult stuff to talk about. I've been pretty strict with myself about not venting to my sons about their mother up until now, but effectively that's meant I haven't really talked about her or our breakup at all, if you can't say anything nice, as they say. Trying to maintain that respect for their mother and also talk frankly about my own feelings is a difficult tightrope balance. I don't want to blame their mother, but I also don't want to blame their mother, if you know what I mean, their mother, if you know what I mean. This would be one of the situations I identify as unfair, where the responsible thing is to never say anything disparaging or poisonous to my sons about their mother, my ex, but that means I have to describe the current state of affairs and what has happened to get here in a way that isn't disparaging to their mother and act like this is normal. She decided. I think I actually did a good job navigating the conversation. My sons absorbed it easier than I expected. A few weeks later, and things with them are basically normal. I have had a few short conversations with my ex since our big, embarrassing blow-up. I sort of feel like I want her to apologize for this whole thing, but also know that I'm not doing myself any favors waiting for that to happen. I think she remains upset with me, more for the things I said than the rejection of this arrangement with Max. Or maybe that's just projection because that's what I feel guilty for. I also regret that the last time I spoke to Max was dropping him off before ending the arrangement. I don't know. I guess his mom has explained to him that she missed him too much, to have him gone each week, but I don't know how sturdy that story will be. Rereading my last post has me feeling pretty shameful of how I talked about Max. I know he doesn't deserve my sustained ire and that he's not going anywhere, so I'll have to be able to adjust to his presence. I'm obviously holding on to a lot of anger that is really about my ex-wife, but she isn't obligated to give a poop about that, and I am obligated to interact with her politely, so I guess that anger just got set aside and then vented onto Max just because he was there in my face, but that was my own. Halt. So I sort of expect things will pretty much return to normal from here. Contact with my ex is curt right now, but that'll loosen up, thanks to almost everyone who commented or reached out to me. Story 2. GF proposed open relationship. Can she be happy being monogamous? We, 27 and 28 have been in monogamous relationship for almost 2 years now. In August, we have a pretty happy relationship, at least I thought as much. Now, we sometimes watch adult movies together while having time, and we both have fun. About 2 weeks ago, we were just doing some dirty talking, and she asked me if I was interested in an open relationship where we sometimes invite others into our bedroom. I got spooked and told her that I am not interested in any sort of non-monogamy, and she agreed. But just to be sure, I asked her again if she is really interested in having an open relationship. She said only if I am interested, otherwise she is very happy. We talked some more, and she said she can separate sex and emotions, so it's easier for her to have an open relationship, but it can't be at the expense of our relationship, and she said she won't bring it up again. It's been 2 weeks now, but I still can't get it out of my head. I can't stop thinking that we are somehow incompatible in the long term. and we are talking about moving in together, so it assumes more importance, I think. We have even discussed marriage plans, so my brain is running in 100 directions right now. Can someone who is interested in open relationship really be happy in monogamous relationship really need advice on how to proceed here? Update. GF proposed open relationship. Can she be happy being monogamous? Update. We had a long talk or series of long talks after I made the post, and I came to learn some stuff about her which I didn't know previously. Like she was in a poly relationship in college, and sometimes she had 3 partners at the same time, or when she first started her job, she was in an open relationship with her BF at the time. She told me all this on her own to explain her POV. She said that she can be equally happy in either a poly or open or fully monogamous relationship based on her partner, and with me she has no doubts that we can last a lifetime of monogamous relationship if I so desire. But she said that for that to happen, I have to trust her that she means what she says and is not trying to tell me what I want to hear. So I asked her what was really bothering me, if she can be really happy with just me or she can do it, but always craving for something or someone more. And she replied to me that I have to trust her to look after her happiness and satisfaction in life and not try to decide for her. On her part, she will never lie to me about her feelings, but I have to be able to accept it. Oh, and why did she ask for an open relationship? She just thought it would be fun for both of us, but mostly me, as I spend at least a week away from home each month, and she thought I would miss the physical intimacy. But I have told her that I will never to open to any non-monogamy, physically and emotionally, and she accepted it completely. I know we both look at S-time and intimacy differently, but as long as we have boundaries which are being respected by both of us, does it really make that much of a difference? Anyways, I know we need to have a lot of talks in the coming days, but after having this talk, I am feeling optimistic about us. So yeah, that was the update. We are still together. Thank you to everyone who took out time to advise me. Redditors, reactions. Story 2 aft. Redditor 1. Thanks for the update. Redditor follow-up. I'd put money down this still ends up with them breaking up down the line. Redditor 2. My wife asked me for this a few times over a 6-month period, also suggesting it for me in the first instance, but also for her. Turned out she was sleeping with a guy at her work, and she was trying to find a way to legitimize her behavior after that had been going on very regularly. We got divorced, and I remarried to a beautiful person that actually loves and respects me. Redditor 3. I'd be worried about her overemphasis of you having to trust her. People demonstrate they are trustworthy. They don't need to ask for it. Redditor follow-up. You'll just have to trust me. I just asked to change the entire dynamic of our relationship, implying I'm not happy with the current arrangement, but you'll just have to trust me. Story 3. My wife, 29, is encouraging me, 31M, to have an affair. Wife and I have been married for 5 years. I think we have a good relationship and a great S-time life. I think she thought the same. However, following a 5-day yoga retreat with a few of her work friends while I was at a conference late last year, her opinion seems to have soured. Apparently, Fernando and Sarah have everything we have and more because they're swingers. When he has S-time with another woman, he uses it as a learning experience to take home to his doting wife, who also bones around, and they have even more mind-blowing drug-fueled experiences with each other while the kids are staying with grandma. Or at least that's what I'm getting from it. So I told her flatly that I don't want to have S-time with anyone else and am happy with her, and she quickly states the feeling is mutual. Case closed, I thought, but then she comes back with more reasons the next week it gives independence and freedom to the relationship. I'm thinking maybe this is a bit of a midlife crisis thing and made it clear I'm just not really into doing other people because it feels too much like cheating, but she's insistent. She keeps going on and on about her work friend Fernando, talking about how mind-blowing the experience has been for him and how we really need to try it. So at this point I'm thinking, are you wanting to cheat on me? She's entirely focused on me going out and having S-time with someone else, but I'm sitting here thinking what's in it for her. It's concerning. Straw. that broke the camel's back is today she came home with a picture of Fernando's Sarah and a hint that she's down to hook up with me at their place. I'm like lost for words right now. How do I make it clear I don't want to have time with someone else and I believe in monogamous relationships? We have 2 kids. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1. It's simple. There are 3 options that I see. 1. She's already screwing around and doesn't want to feel guilty about it anymore. 2. She wants to, but doesn't want it to be cheating. She is being actively groomed by this couple. Redditor follow-up. The grooming is dead on. Fernando has sold her on the idea that he is a S-time god, with all this practicing and fine, tuning his craft to bring home new talents to his wife Bullpoop. She will be disappointed when he's an average lay. Redditor 2, following a 5-day yoga retreat with a few of her work friends. It gives independence and freedom to the relationship. She's insistent. She keeps going on and on about her work friend Fernando, talking about how mind-blowing the experience has been for him. Today, she came home with a picture of Fernando's Sarah and a hint that she's down to hook up with me. It's just a speculation, but I think she already had S-time with Fernando. She wants it more often and openly, and she is trying to convert you by offering you his wife. This is a huge red flag in my book. Cheating and open relationships are a deal breaker for me. Redditor 3. So she wants to duck Fernando if she hasn't already. She needs you on board for retroactive permission for pushing this in the first place. Either way, what she's doing is incredibly disrespectful. She's going to another couple about your S-time life and trying to push you into something you don't want. Redditor follow-up. Best case scenario for Op. She's enamored by the idea of swinging and is presenting this girl to him as a means to get her foot in the door of swinging. Worst case scenario. She's already had a swing on the Fernando pole and wants to do it again, so is pushing this girl on Op so she can have her fun and feel no guilt.